We have all heard by now legendary retellings of the story of Winston Churchill, which include his support for the imperialism of the British Empire. But when Western media was dominated by legacy media in the 1930s and 40s, Winston Churchill's voice came over as the man of morale in the battle against Nazi Germany. In that particular, he was indispensable. One of the things he remarked was that this Congress serviceman had an obligation to make what he called a good account of themselves. In the humongous error of supporting Israel in their atrocity, I have sought to make something of an accounting of myself. I grew up in a Holocaust survivor community where the impingements of sacrificial duty to the tragedy of World War II was a form of meditation and hypnosis so profound that when I was waylaid by Zionists and tortured by Pittsburghers in organized crime, I internalized it as somehow karma for guilt. And the world sat still while Israel pulled this kind of hypnotic suggestion throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2010s, bringing us to this abomination. I had warned as early as 1994 that there was evidence that Israel was pursuing Holocaustal revenge, something that their armchair civics persons yawn and brush off as so what. This is the mind inside Tel Aviv. One of the things that happened to my generation was because of the Vietnam War and the resistance to the Vietnam War. There was a tendency to regard the two sides as either the corruption of the war industry in pursuing maniacal bombing campaigns against a foreign country that hadn't attacked us, and or the just sex, drugs, and rock and roll industry. The corruption was mutual. It was an attempt to subvert America's honor by making it look like you had to choose sides between two extreme corruptions. Hare sang about celebration of sexual liberation only to flock people into a pornographic genocide. They purposefully never mentioned STDs in their songs. This mutually compatible corruption came over as a dialectical arrangement, a binary opposing structure, when in fact it was mutual corruption erected by the criminally insane. And we're stuck with a situation where we have a president on high who wants to fulfill this abomination. He gloats of having pretty, sexy women who he can confer on his following and take away at a moment's notice to leave the poor fool he tricked in neurotraumatic seizures from hidden implants from corrections psychiatry and get the laughter of crowds by claiming some foolish mandate of Yoko Ono. And because of Seattle, Washington, He has gotten away with this. And the warnings that went out about the terroristic campaigns of the Israelis during the pornographic genocide were backed up with my film project. It shows it was a plan dating from the dawn of cinema to utilize the church fathers in a holy war. And they found corrupted elements of the Kennedy family to dismiss as inconsequential the rights of the individual in America under this kind of God law, sadism, and scary slavery. They stripped our economy of anything that could provide public assistance to the common man. People are struggling and prices are going up. I want it to be said that although I loved my peers who were Jewish, I see in this their cunning, their misleading, their deception, and their god-awful poison. They lay in wait to trick the United States of America. The United States of America must come to terms with this attack on our honor, when it's increasingly obviously an enemy within.